All right, yeah, we got to see how the mic sounds. We got to see how everything sounds. I haven't been on this setup in a long time, and not to mention I'm going to be replacing this PC anyways. Um, how does this sound? Does it sound shitty? Everything's kind of weird. Like even the chat room is fucking massive. Like what? Let's see. Is it properties? Properties. I don't think it's properties. Why is the chat room so big? Height? Oh, you know what? What if we did 1,000? Width. 750. Okay, that works. We're not going to be here long. I've kind of just thrown things together on this channel. Like, I got a new light. The camera is the exact same one as it was before. I'm going to be upgrading it to a better one come, like, July. But I'm just trying to see how things work and how things look and how things sound. It's kind of different. Like, overall, everything is much more spacious. I got rid of lights. I got rid of, like, wires and clutter. Hang on. How is the army going? Army? You're funny. I've had, like, no time to do anything Warhammer related. Hang on. That is that thing? That is the Bridge of Khazad-dûm, yeah. It's like a little environment thing. It's like it's a scaled environment. Hang on. Just want to make sure everything is working. Is it still working? Oh, it is. Yeah, it's the Weta one. Well, Weta and, like, custom people are the ones, like, who really do that stuff. No one has the Lord of the Rings license who will do that shit. Weta's pretty OG with that stuff. Anyways, I want to build the rest of this gyrocopter and then open up something that was sent to me, which I need to figure out what to do with. Let's see. Is that, like... Is that visible on screen? Is that blurry? Let's try that. That looks pretty good. I want different music, man. Yeah, I'm good. We're just chilling. I don't really have much time here, so I want to try and, like, at least make something of it. Ideally. Oh, I didn't take my shit out. Oopsies. Is that it? Yeah, we don't have much time. We're kind of in the middle of being very busy. And from being very busy comes not a lot of, like, things to do in terms of fun. Because when you're busy, shit has to get done. Unfortunately, that's life. We got a lot of fucking issues. And train rides are definitely not the funnest thing. True, eh? Kind of. An obese banana. Well, the main channel makes more money if you sub. This gets less money, but then we get emotes. So do whatever you want. If you want to contribute to emote slots, go for it. If you want to give me more money, go for it. That's completely up to you. That's kind of the difference. Such is the way of Twitch. Because they've got all of these different, like, partner programs and partner plus programs and affiliate programs and fucking VIP programs and all this weird shit. So it kind of boils down to, like, which one are you? And based on that is, like, how much money you make per sub. It's not the best thing, but it's something. Yeah, we're going to be here for, like, probably a week and a half-ish, 2 weeks. And then we got to go again, and then we will be back in July. So that's kind of what we're waiting on. Because ideally, I'd like to be able to stream here, like, daily. That's the goal. Like, there's some big things ahead of us, and I got to get working. I got to get doing some shit. Don't you just hate being an adult? Swear to God, I need glasses. Holy shit. My eyesight has deteriorated so fast playing League. Like, I don't have the eyes anymore, man. My eyes are done. I wish I could be a kid with all that I know now. I feel like that's just not right. If a child knew what being an adult was like, and then they got to relive their childhood, it's like you'd never even live a childhood, you know what I mean? It's not knowing all the shit we know as an adult as to why, like, childhood is so good. Or at least, for me, it was good. Like, ain't no way you're a kid and you're like, you know what? I cannot wait to save money for taxes. I cannot wait to deal with fucking health problems and all this shit. It's like, nah, I don't really want that. Let's see. League actually makes your senses worse. When I quit, it made food taste better. I think you just had COVID, bro. You could have also had COVID. Was that a thing? Man, I gotta fix, like... Okay, if my hands are like this, I gotta be left. I quit before COVID. Did you really? Lucky you. Or maybe unlucky you, because, like, what do you do during COVID, you know? Thing is with League is that they'll always be back, right? You know, you say, oh, I'm done with this game, whatever, and then you come back anyways. It's like Warhammer. Ah, I just spilled my water everywhere. My crotch is soaked. Look at this. Well, that's unlucky, but lucky that there's no electrical equipment, like, near me. If anything, I'm probably cleaner. That's really bad. I mean, probably shouldn't have put water there. Okay, 2 seconds. Be right back. It's the Coke incident, except it's with water, so it doesn't matter. It's like I just jumped in the pool. It's not as bad as you think it is. Oh, man. I think I need more of like a shallow cup would have been better. Excuse me. Yeah, at least it didn't get on the floor. It's just a wet table. Really not anything. Why's the camera so fucked? Look at me, bro. There. Unlucky, but again, it's just water. If this was juice, I'd fucking lose my shit. The last thing you want is a shit ton of, like, sticky, sweet crap all over you, and then all the bugs come. That's certainly not good. Fucking hell. Oh well, it's clean. Cool. Let's just do this. I think that's good. Spilling water on yourself is like a shower. I mean, that's where I just came from, so it's double the, I've got double the incurable water problem. I'm cleansed of all sin. Man, this fucking sucks. Do I not have, like, something shallower like this? Sure. Nope. I am not playing any Total War for about 2 weeks. I don't have that PC right now. Like, start of June and then start of July, it should be maybe Total War, but I'm probably not playing it. Because I don't really want to. And I don't have the PC anyway, so even if I wanted to, it's like I can't. Painting stream. Yeah, maybe. I mean, right now, I actually want to play Old World, kind of. Like, I know I could probably do it on, like, Warhol or Tabletop Simulator, which is just the most convenient way to play games without needing an army. But at the same time, there's just something about physical gaming that is so much better. Like, rolling dice in person will forever and always be better than rolling them in a simulation. Yes, sir. Peace, buddy. When it comes to miniature painting, are you a brush licker or a liar? I mean, both. I feel like if you paint copious amounts of things, you're probably just, like, eating more paint than you're putting down. But thankfully, that's not me. Legend of Sigmar. Those are some roleplay books, which I don't roleplay with, but, like, it's just good lore. And then there's also some dwarven novels. I'm trying to go through my storage unit right now and, like, pull out all of my stuff that I've had sitting in there just molding and kind of put it out and reread some of it and, you know, glance over things long forgotten. Thankfully, when it comes to books and Warhammer, like, you could probably find them online for free. Or if you're looking to read some of the older stuff and it's not like a rare, thing that people are sought after, it's relatively cheap. Like you can get books for maybe like $10 each, usually. So I don't know exactly how much the Empire books would be, if that's what you're kind of after. Paint is too expensive to eat. You mean it's too expensive to not eat? If you buy it, you should be eating it? Or, even crazily enough, you could go to I don't know anyone who does this, but like when it comes to Warhammer books, they've got a website. I think it's just Black Library, and you can purchase like ebooks from Black Library. I don't know if anyone does that exactly, but that's an option too if you don't want to go after like the real thing. Or again, you've got like PDFs somewhere that have the books for free. Yeah, Black Library. I mean, I'd rather just get the physical thing. It's easier, or go audiobook, right? Pretty expensive, but like I don't want to sit down and like look at a screen and like read off a screen, you know what I mean? How powerful is your army? Well, I would say not very strong considering we don't really have much time to work on it. We do not have much time. Ideally, I can somehow finish a 2,000-point army. Or I say fuck the game, and I just paint like random things and build random things for fun. Although I've seen so many battle reports of like Old World, and initially when I saw it come back, I'm like, okay, that's great. I don't want to play the game, but what I want to do is like, get all of the minis that I was missing. And having looked at it, like, I think I'm just more inclined to play it now than like AOS, because AOS no longer, like, my whole shtick with Age of Sigmar was that I'd play Cities of Sigmar and then proxy shit with like Dwarven units. And Cities of Sigmar kind of got like flipped upside down completely. All of their fantasy legacy units are going to be gone soon. It's going to be straight up Age of Sigmar stuff, and that's fine. But I don't know, man. I'm torn. I love fantasy. I love old world, but like at the same time, there's not enough like creativity in making an army. It's very cut and dry, whereas like Age of Sigmar has so many different profiles, and it's so much more of a casual game to where you can build whatever you want and kind of have it just look the way it does, and people accept it, and it's like, oh, that's cool. 1,000. I'd say anything above 1,000 is good. 1,000 being like the lowest you could go for plastic, probably. No, just regular dwarves. I don't like chaos dwarves. It's like the lore of the chaos dwarves is cool, right? You know, kind of being lost in the World's Edge Mountains without like any outside help, and what's going on, where are my gods, where are my bros, and somebody come save us, and like oh my god, is that Hashut? Hashut's here to make a deal with us? Like, it's cool, but it's, they're just not my thing. Their lore is cool, though. Zatan. I feel like the only reason people have an interest in Chaos Dwarves is because of Total War. Like, realistically, Total War. If you didn't fuck with Total War or, like, get into Chaos Dwarves through that, I mean, you could play them, you could buy them. Like, they were strictly all Forge World for the longest time. You know, you could go back and buy, like, what was it, 4th edition or some shit? I don't even know when they came out, ages ago. Maybe not 4th edition, like, what, 3rd edition? They're old. One of the older editions of Fantasy had, like, plastic Chaos Dwarfs. They had, like, the Taurus. They had the artillery, all in metal. You know, that stuff is still sold, and people still like it, but it's a very, like, it's a niche. It's a niche within a niche within a niche. And I think the reason they're not really going anywhere in terms of, like, gameplay or, you know, where's the range is because, again, everything was resin. Like, they're not going to sell you, again, what was it, like 3rd edition or something? 4th edition, 2nd edition? I don't know when they came out. They're not going to sell you those, like, monopose, you know, 10 to a box, like, Chaos Dwarf Warriors. They're a little bit, you know, kind of that age. And be it the old world is very nostalgic, right? Like, it's pulling boomers out of their graves and like, hey, here's some orc big guns when you were fucking 2 years old and $60 for 3 of them. They look like Play-Doh. So, I mean, I guess everything's up in the air. If there's money to be made, GW will do it. Not to mention, it's all like, it's just nostalgia. The old world is strictly nostalgia, selling you old minis. You know, they don't really have to do much work in terms of, like, bringing things out because they've got all the work done. It's just kind of like, get the molds going. Let's start cranking out some microplastics. Because, like, I really wonder if they do, like, the Chaos Dwarves are playable, right? But are Chaos Dwarf Warriors even a thing? Because where do you get the models? 20 Infernal Guard for 120? Well, it's because it was all on Forge World, right? Everything Forge World was, like, super expensive. If it's Forge World, you're paying a shit ton of money. Although now it's kind of, like, incorporated into Games Workshop, so it's not that big of a difference in terms of, like, oh, you go to their website, you go to ours, it's like everything is localized and, you know, you could just buy everything at once. Which ain't so bad because I've seen the quality of Forge World stuff lately, and it's not terrible. It's actually pretty good. It's just you do pay kind of a little bit. You do pay a little bit of money. Too bad GW only has Age of Sigmar. It won't soon. I mean, every GW is going to have Old World, if it already doesn't. Well, I mean, the reason they brought back fantasy was because of Total War, obviously, and the fact that they could make money, right? Like, do you think if realistically what GW did with fantasy was the correct call? Because now look at how much money they're making, right? As sad as it is, that's kind of logical, right? But at the same time, it's like, well, how could you have revived fantasy if you didn't go the Age of Sigmar route? You know, how could you bring the hype back? It's like, maybe simplify the game, maybe, I don't know, do something, make lore progressions, give new units to armies, new sculpts. Like, fantasy was just so stagnant, and then people kind of just stopped caring, you know? Not stopped caring about the universe, but like, there wasn't really anything to look forward to when you played the game, you know? I'm not like a huge Age of Sigmar nerd. I do like the game quite a bit. The lore is fine, and it is still canon to fantasy. So, like, no matter how much you love fantasy and hate Age of Sigmar, it's still the continuation, right? Not entirely a continuation, but like, it's a reset of the world, but it still happened. Fantasy happened. Gotrek lived. He's still in Age of Sigmar. So on and so forth. Your favorite characters dead. Your favorite race dead. But you know, it was there at one point, and it was the world that was. So I don't really mind it. And again, the game is fun. Age of Sigmar is like an overweight dad game, so I kind of fit in. If it flopped, CA would have been dead. I mean, Total War is like, it's a godsend for Warhammer games. I don't think there is a better game than Warhammer Total War right now. Either way, though, there's so many games right now being produced by Games Workshop. It's like, you cannot, you can't hate them all. You gotta like something. It's like, fucking hate Age of Sigmar. They killed fantasy. What the hell is this old world? Where's my characters? It's like, try and enjoy yourself wherever, man. They do kind of produce a lot of stuff right now. All we're missing is like a Mordheim clone for like Old World, and we're Gucci. Then you've got your little skirmish game. Wait for it. They're going to rewrite the end times. No, they're not going to touch anything old fantasy. It's dead and gone. The money's been lost. They're gonna write new stuff, but like, unless they really want to go back in and like retcon something, which I doubt would be a thing, because they've decided to go back a few hundred years and kind of like, you know, write in what happened. It's like, yeah, we know of like this event and that event briefly from like a little paragraph in a rule book, but what exactly happened? And then fucking Old World's like, well, in 3 books you can find out. 3 separate books you gotta buy. Maybe Archaon will be back for their asses. I mean, Archaon is still alive. unfortunately. Everyone's kind of like, pissed off at Manfred and Archaon and all the chaos, powers kind of like finishing off the world, but that's the writers, dude. It's not Chaos's problem. They were wrote that way. Or written that way, I should say. Archaon was a puppet. They forced him to do the end times. Yo, yo. Yo, yo. Throg's gonna behead him and piss on him as well. They did Throg so dirty in fucking Total War. They made him sound like an absolute idiot. For all the good Total War did, they did kind of fuck a few things up, and that was one of them. They made him actually sound stupid. Like a troll. Well, he's a troll, but he's a very smart troll. I think he's got the, whatever fucking, what was it? Was it a gift from the Chaos Gods, or was it, like, some crown he acquired or some shit? I haven't read his lore in fucking eons, but he's supposed to be very well-spoken. I'm sure there's better words for that, but, like, he's not... Is it the crown that's doing it? Yeah, he's not. He's not stupid. Cool character, but he fucking blows. As does everyone in Norska. They all suck. At least in Total War. Norska is just such a terrible, terrible faction. It's so garbage. Actual primates. Actual cavemen. Cavemen faction. What are we doing? We're scraping plastic. We're making a flying machine. Norska's the real puppets. Yo, yo. Well, we're here for now. We're going to be here for like a week and a half, 2 weeks-ish. Few units, more powerful kind of faction. Not really. Norska's kind of like spammy. They've got like monsters and magic and whatnot, but most of their wins come from like just kind of having a bunch of shit on the field. Tons of marauders and beasts and shit running around. I don't think you'll ever see an elite Norska force. I don't think that's really a thing. My Grombrindle is on his way to me. Is he really? How much did you get him for? Because right now on eBay he's like, what, $40, which I think is retail. I do need to get that one. It's just I'm not really in a desperate need for the mini. There's no desire, no urge right now. Even the fucking White Dwarf, $34? That's not bad. Wolfric's animations look good. Oh, his intro looks good. I mean, even his reveal trailer was pretty cool, eh? Way back when. We became monsters. Cue the mammoth. Most boring faction ever. I mean, even for PvP, they're kind of boring. At least from what I've seen, they don't seem too enjoyable to play. I'm not going to lie. You know, it's subjective. Some people do like playing Cathay. Talk about boring. Dragons are cool. I mean, if we're talking like gameplay wise, I guess Cathay's got a few like tricks up their sleeve, but I mean, big gunline Cathay isn't very enjoyable. And you know, you could say, "Oh, what about gunline dwarves?" Yeah, but dwarves are cooler, so they're automatically like okay when it comes to gunlining. I think the biggest thing is that there's something for everybody. And if you want to play Cathay every game, every day of the year, by God, you could do that. I don't think it's a very good existence, but people do like it. Not a very fun existence. Lady that is a manager of my GW never heard about Total War Warhammer. I mean, some people don't even play games. If you work in like a games workshop, chances are you're probably hooked on like miniatures and whatnot and painting. That's probably what it is. If your job is a hobby and that hobby is very tedious, I don't think you have that much time for gaming. Hair reveal. What hair? I'm bald, clearly. Not necessarily. I mean, people don't walk into a Games Workshop and say, man, I can't wait to buy Total War Warhammer. Like, I guess being in the know of like, oh, Total War came back and, you know, resurrected fantasy, it's like, okay, you could know about that. I guess you can make that connection because that is kind of true. Everyone will forever and always praise Total War Warhammer. It's just so good. We're making a gyrocopter extremely slowly. Very fucking slowly. 7 Astromancer on Great Moonbirds, 6 Terracotta Sentinel, Skyjunk, Army Comp. That sounds very multiplayer driven. I mean, when it comes to campaign, you can build whatever the fuck you want and things are fun, but I'm talking about like from a multiplayer perspective. Cathay is not very fun. Like you could do weird niche builds of like rushing and magic and stuff like that, but most Cathay gameplay I find is just gunline. Like there are so many people who play campaign and just like doomstack shit or fucking break the game's AI to like enjoy it more. I just knowing that you're fighting a computer, it doesn't sound fun. It's not that enjoyable. Personally. It's like you kind of want different things. You know, you want to fight a human being with human strategies instead of like, oh my god, it's the AI and they've got 50 times my force. I'm going to lose to their grand strategy. Right? They're just so strategically fucking gifted. They can send thousands of black orcs at me and it's just like they were the better player. But you know, it's cool. It's good that it exists. It is good that it exists. Negative 80 leadership. I mean, isn't that just auto breaking? You just touch them once and they auto lose the game. When it comes to games like that, though, it really is stacking. I mean, buffing units and debuffing enemy units, shit like that is what's going to give you a win. You can't really like throw baseline, statistics at something and be like, it's gonna win me a game. It's usually just a bunch of like buffs and debuffs kind of flying around. Big old combos. Gotta combo the enemy. Playing the tabletop and painting the minis. It's different skill expression. It's like, I mean, I suppose so, but it's still a lesser form of skill than like playing multiplayer. Campaign will always be easier than multiplayer in terms of fighting battles, right? Because like you don't need the micromanagement you'd need in like a multiplayer game, but it is kind of its own thing. If you're a multiplayer person and you go play like campaign, you won't even know what to do in some games because there's so many enemies. And maybe you don't know what your units do, right? Because you're not used to having 10 times the amount. Painting right now, no. But eventually, yeah. Anti-cut gloves. What am I, 90? Anti-cut gloves. Ow, I'm cutting myself. Ow, banned, TOS, ow. $70 Games Workshop cut gloves. Anti-cut gloves. You gotta get this tool, they're gloves. My orcs are going to be infused with my blood full of spite through their seams. What? Are they corn orcs? Do you have to offer blood every time you build one? Well, the entire range isn't back yet, that's why. They can't just release everything all at once and say, hey, guess what, everything's here. Like, I'm 90% sure things are still in development for the old world. Not every faction is, like, completely fleshed out. They haven't even shown the dwarf stuff yet. Like, they've given us the previews at Adepticon, and then they haven't shown what's actually coming back in terms of, like, the older stuff. All the generic kits are coming back, but what about the unique, like, made-to-order weirdness? That's what I want to know. I just want to see some weird stuff. Gonna have to wait till corn drops. Corn? I mean, chaos stuff? Old world chaos? You talking about, like, well, they did have corn stuff at the end of, like, Warhammer Fantasy. Well, there are definitely exploits to like campaign. Bite Frost, thank you, buddy. No, there's definitely exploits. I mean, a lot of it boils down to like cheesing the AI, right? Because when you've got AI that has 10 times the amount of units you have, you can't just be like, okay, what a straight up fight we're going to have. And, I'm just the better general, so my units are going to take less damage because they don't, get hit with more bullets than you do. It's like if you're fighting big amounts of units, like just shit tons of armies, multiples at a time, and you've got one, you do kind of have to be cheeky. You got to be a little bit cheeky. I mean, there are still people who love multiplayer and don't even bother with campaign. Same thing with campaign and multiplayer. It's like everyone loves campaign and no one cares about multiplayer, and then vice versa. It's just two different beasts. A lot for sale of what? Corn stuff? Isn't that all AOS? Yeah. I mean, if you're looking to play old world, obviously wait. Oh, old world corn stuff. I would just wait, man. Bite the bullet and wait, and you'll eventually get your little arcane journal at like the end of Fantasy's life. Because I feel like when it comes to chaos, they're probably going to be last. Most likely. And the reason you'd start with Tomb King's Bretonia is because they were out first in Age of Sigmar and whatnot, right? They didn't even make it over there. So what do you do to appease people is you bring them back first. Only makes it fair. Well, there is no such thing as a fair game when the universe is so insane. Do you think Warhammer Fantasy is a fair universe? Do you think Star Wars is a fair universe? Do you think like anything with just tons of different people and fucking spaceships that can blow up entire planets and weapons that are the size of planets probably, right? Like you can't balance it either way. Hey, disloyal $10 donation. Thank you, sir. Thanks, buddy. Yes. The blessed $10 donation. Thank you, sir. We can get a single Games Workshop paint because it's $5 plus tax. Maybe we bargain for the other one. Although, knowing inflation, it's probably more. I haven't bought a GW paint in so long, so I have no clue. Tax? Yeah, imagine. I mean, if you're in Quebec, you pay another tax. You have to pay a tax because you're French. I'm happy my GW lets me paint for free if I want. Yeah, they do that sometimes. I don't think they're going to let you sit there and, like, paint your whole army for free, but you know, they let you do a few things. Taxes to exist. My store just got in the new Army Painter Fantastic Paints. Yeah, Army Painter is pretty cool. I don't really mind their paints. I've used them a little bit. They're all right. I think for me, it's just convenience, honestly, more than anything. If it's convenient, I'll get it. If not, I won't get it. And for me, Army Painter isn't very convenient just because they don't sell them locally. Unless I go, like, downtown, and there's no way I'm going downtown for Army Painter paints. Like, probably not going to be doing that. %40 income tax. Yo, government be yoinking our money. What the fuck, government? What a bunch of thieves. What a bunch of Bilgewater folk. Give me 1 sec. 1 second. Also, we have to open something. Bum, bum, bum. 800K for a shitty house? 800K. Think of 200K more. And maybe you're there. Ain't no way 800K. In this economy, that's free. Too cheap. $1 million minimum, and you get to live in a dumpster. Is Karl Franz blood related to Sigmar? I don't fucking know. I have no clue. I don't know. I used to play Empire, and I never really got into the Empire books, despite liking. They had 2 novels on, like, Karl's, like, right hand man, and then his fucking BSB. I guess that is his right hand man. It was Kurt Helborg, who is like the Reichsmarshal guy, and then Ludwig, who is, I think, like Karl's personal banner bearer. Those 2 books I had looked into, but, like, outside of that, I got no fucking clue, dude. Me and the Empire, been a while. That has been a while. I even have their I used to play Empire, and I still have their heraldry book. So I think it was around, like, 7th edition. I think it was 7th edition. They came out with flavor books of, like, Skaven heraldry, Empire heraldry, stuff like that. I think that's the only remaining bit I have outside of, like, their army book. That stuff was cool as hell. What the fuck? Listen, I don't mess with 40K. Not anymore. I don't read no 40K. I don't study no 40K. The last time I read anything 40K was the Votan Codex, and there was nothing to read in that thing, so. I do understand everyone's love for that universe, but I think it needs a little bit more dwarven oomph. Yeah, the new Rat Ogres look pretty good. I did see the reveal of all the new, like, Stormcast and Skaven units. The only thing I didn't like about the Rat Ogres is that they didn't come with handlers. It's just kind of like they're smart enough to do these things now by themselves. They do look good, though. The whole new Skaven line just looks like Skaven HD, Skaven 4K. Well, Clan Molder's really cool. Some random Prince of Altdorf. I don't know anything, man. I used to own Karl Franz. I didn't have like the plastic mini. I had the fucking metal one that came before that. And I remember selling him to a police officer. An undercover police officer bought my metal Karl Franz, and it was missing his rune fang. And so I had to mail it to him. I'm like, damn, bro, is he gonna come spy on me or something? Like I fucking cheated him out of a bit. That's the most random thing I've ever heard. That was true, though. I sold my metal Karl Franz through local listings to an undercover police officer, who I then had to mail the bit to him. Bro was trying to bust like drug dealers and found a guy selling Warhammer instead, which is far worse. Age of Sigmar is what became of fantasy. The old world, Warhammer Fantasy, everything blew up. Everyone was dead. They all escaped into their fucking realms, right? The gods were real. Oh my god, shelter me. And then the realms were made anew, and everyone was able to repopulate and fucking live again. Something like that, right? Not every race, obviously. I mean, Bretonia. How did Bretonia go out in the end times? Wasn't Tomb Kings were like all fucking assimilated into something by Nagash, I believe. He just kind of like wiped them all out to fuel something, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while since I've read anything end times, but those two are definitely very dead. Like, I guess Bretonia wasn't very original, and it's like, how do you make Bretonia in Age of Sigmar when Age of Sigmar was made to be like extremely copyrightable? Because you can't just go back and copyright, you know, oh my god, a bunch of Grail Knights and Let's go on a great quest and, you know, shit on some peasants and all is well. Wiped out fighting the undead. Yeah, Bretonia wasn't. I mean, again, if there was, if you're trying to make things copyrightable, you don't bring in Bretonia. Bretonia is like far from original. Probably the most unoriginal thing in Warhammer Fantasy. One of. But that's not to say that it's like a bad thing, because it's not. But you can't own copyright of the French. I mean, they're just like, people do love Bretonia. It makes sense to bring them back, but I certainly won't be playing them. Excuse me, don't say that word. She's a goddess. Wasn't she an elf? They just did a SpaceX launch, and I saw it outside my backyard. That's cool. I don't see anything like that up here. Up in Canada. I did not do this by myself. This is a plastic kit. I'm just cleaning it up. I'm just making it look not as shitty. Feels so nice that the hobby streams are back. Well, they're back for now. I don't have the new camera yet, but I did get a new light. I ended up purchasing the Redgrass Games hobby light. Very expensive, but my God, it's extremely good. Doesn't overheat, very bright, can put it wherever you want. It's going to fucking light up the whole desk. I'd say pretty good investment. I'm no like, you know, scientist who can sit here and tell you every single little bit about this light, and it's like, oh my God, the lumens and this and that, and it was fucking crafted by Einstein's like pubes. Like, I can't say any of that, obviously, but for what it is, it's really nice. Can anyone recommend a video about the tools I need to start painting? I have one brush and a file. So, what, I mean, I could tell you what I would suggest. Otherwise, just like YouTube, how to start Warhammer. What tools do I need? everyone has their own set of tools. You know, like you can always have the standard stuff and then the extras. Yeah, we're here for now. Well, the light is it's to see what you're working on, to see what you're painting. I'm only using one light. I used to use two lights called, I think it was Neatfi or Neatly or something. It was off Amazon. And they overheated. They became too like cluttered on the desk. And so with this one, it's just one solid, like pretty sturdy chunk of metal and two lights that you can like move around. What's the name of the light? I don't even know, man. It's like something Redgrass Games light. Some shit like that. You do need a good light, though. Not like you got to spend a lot of money on it, but like if you're going to do this quite a lot, it's wise to get a good light. Fucking hair, bro. Toothpicks and toothbrushes? Oh, yeah, for sure. And I use toothpicks. I use Q-tips. I use whatever on hand. It's good. It's not like you need expensive stuff to kind of get shit done. It's just kind of like developing what works for you and just rolling with that, you know? You don't need to go out and spend thousands of dollars on like good tools when you can make do with like dollar store stuff. It's up to you. It's whatever's comfortable and within your budget. The number one thing with the hobby is the budget. The hobby itself is so fucking expensive, and then when you start getting into like, oh my god, the God Hand Clipper's $80, it's like, excuse me. You know, you can make do without them. Nerds will always spend money on shit they don't need, because they're fucking nerds. Teach me something about the hobby, and I will give you a present. Okay, well, the easiest thing to teach you is this. This is called Tamiya Extra Thin Glue. Extra Thin Cement. And what you can do with this is you put a bunch of sprues into the glue. Acetone, basically, right? It'll melt it all down. And you create a goop. And from this goop, you can use it for gap filling. You can use it to fix imperfections. And all you do is you take a Q-tip, you get a little bit on the end of it, you dab it on, you let it dry, and then you sand it down flush. It's essentially like a filler. But like extremely convenient because you're not mixing two things together, right? Like if you want spot treatment, it's like, as an example, I used it here. I cut too deep into the blade, and it made like a divot. And I don't want that divot, so you put the goop, and then the goop hardens, and since it's plastic, it hardens into plastic, and you file it down, and you don't see it. It's done. It's very, very, very good. I've used it pretty much on every single thing I've done. You can do that with Gundams. Husky, thank you, man. 2 years. Thank you, sir. It's very, even with Gundams. Again, like if you're someone who's more of a perfectionist or you've really fucked up with the blade, use that. Right? Don't go mixing like Milliput or green stuff, you know, all these like gap filling epoxies that take a long time to work with. Just like throw a bunch of sprue and like acetone, you're done. Trimmed his beard. This is going in the book. Avitas, thank you, buddy. Hey, I appreciate it, man. No, every sub counts. Thank you, brother. It's a good tip, though, eh? It's not a very secretive one, but, like, it's very useful. It's on the go. Good stuff. Although I do need to get out of here soon, but before I leave, I wanted to unbox something. You see all this stuff coming out about you know who? I don't know who. Drake? You talking about Drake? Is that who? Listen, I don't keep up with I don't keep up with rappers or the world or Twitter. Does this spell doom for Canadians because he's Canadian and he's also from Toronto and I'm from Toronto, so like am I doomed? Is he going to make us Torontonians look weird? Old world, not this. I mean, there's nothing to really look at in the old world right now. There's no dwarves, there's nothing. Like, the dwarves are coming back, but it's going to be more so like June. Secrets are revealed. More to come soon. Bro, you sound like my uncle when he's talking about Joe Biden because he's such a Trump fan. Like, bro, no matter what side you're on, like, I'm just like, all right, okay. More to come. I wish I could elect Gangplank as president. Yeah, I don't think you want that. Boeing whistleblowers are being killed for speaking out against their company. I did see that. I actually do believe that. That's true. That is true. I'm not going to sit here and cope and say, like, you know, oh, it's just a coincidence the guy died, you know, less than a week later after he fucking, you know, dropped the big old bombshell. I mean, look, it doesn't involve me. It's just drama to keep people, like, occupied so life isn't so boring. That's basically it. Like, it's a big, bad problem. I understand. And it's something to follow. Things are getting heavy. Bro, this doesn't even affect your life. Things are getting heavy. My life just got a whole lot harder with this news. But it is weird. Who knows anymore? The world's going to shit. Stock up on plastic. Okay, let's open something very quickly, and then I think we will make our leave. Leave. I just finished making burgers. I mean, I've only been here for about an hour and a half, but I just wanted to get on and test a few things. Like, I'm not really here for good yet. Okay. So, what I had seen a YouTube video. Press 1 if you've seen a YouTube video. I'm not going to tell you which video, but press 1 if you've seen a YouTube video in your lifetime. Okay, so people have watched YouTube. Yeah, shocker. Shocker. Now, here's another one. Press 1 if you've seen Peachy's YouTube video on the Dwarven tank. Anyone see that video? Anyone watch Warhammer content? Maybe, maybe not. Nobody saw the video. One, you did see it? Really, you did see it? I respect that. One cultured person. Essentially, what it was that there was a big Warhammer dwarf tank that was supposed to come out, I think, like 2006. And it was shelved, and it was very cool. And it became just an unreleased miniature. And Peachy, who at the time worked for Games Workshop and worked in the studio that did, you know, the Dwarven updates, I suppose you could say, like bringing out the new miniatures and whatnot and developing Dwarven color schemes and, you know, icons and whatnot to, like, represent holds. In the video, I reached out and I'm like, dude, that tank is so fucking cool. I didn't say that, obviously, but it's a very cool thing. I reached out to Peachy, and I said, I collect weird shit like this. Would you be willing to send me something? And so he sent me, first of all, a letter. He says, hey, Michael. That's my name. Please find enclosed said dwarf tank sketch. He sent me the sketch from the video and the Zufbar banner icon. Also, on the reverse, there is an old sketch of a necromancer I did, so my apologies on her attire. I can't show her attire because there are titties. But it was very, very, very generous of Peachy to send me the sketch he did of the unreleased dwarf tank that he kind of had like a hand at way back when it was supposed to come out. So that's really fucking cool. So now I need to try and like frame this thing and then put the little bit that currently is in like a Tree Lord kit. But he sent me this, and that's fucking awesome. And there was also some Zufbar iconography, like the holds, you know, whatever you'd call it. Not sigil, but what do you call it? The holds image. I don't know what you'd call it. Anyways, very generous of heraldry. I mean, it's their icon. It's the icon of, it's one of the icons of like Zufbar, basically. You know, I think he had talked about a mountain being the big, you know, triangle, and then it's supposed to be the big hustling, bustling, fucking technology Karak. So, you know, a little cog icon and whatnot, and then a river, whatever it was. So, again, very generous of him to send me this. That's fucking awesome. I love this. It's weird, and I need to frame it. And I need to frame it with the actual bit of unreleased tank sprue that is sitting in a Wood Elf kit currently in GW. So if I can get around to doing that, that'd be awesome. I'm not going to flip this thing over because there's giant like elven titties on the back or necromancer titties. But that's fucking awesome. So I don't know if this clip's ever going to get to him, but thank you, man. I will do something with this. It would make sense for dwarves to make tanks since they also have flying machines. Well, I mean, it would make more sense for them to do that first instead of flying machines, because, like, the dwarves are always about consistency and kind of, making things as safe as possible. And so why would you ever try to like make an airship before making a land vehicle, of any kind? Which they have done in books. They've done a few different like trainish things, I guess just a train in general, or big mining carts and stuff like that. Way back when they had the Juggernaut, which I think was like a weird mining vehicle as well. I mean, I guess it was more of a design thing, really. It's like, what's cool? What can we make? Well, take to the skies and make gyrocopters, make thunder barges, do whatever. I mean, this, again, was supposed to be released. This was literally, from his memory, what it might have looked like. And there was different variants of it, too. Like, there was the one that was a troop carrier, right? You could disembark 20 dwarf warriors from the front of this thing like a fucking World War, like landing craft. There was another one with an anvil on top of it. Like, this would have been so sick to see get released in miniature form. A dwarf APC. I mean, if there's any race that's going to be putting something like this on the field, it would be first and foremost dwarves. Maybe Skaven. Like, the Empire would be a little bit behind because, like, what they've got is basically because of the dwarves anyways, right? But who knows, man? It's just things lost to the past, unfortunately. Elves love their mechanical behemoths. They got trees. All right. With that being said, I am going to leave. We've only been here for about like an hour and a half. Didn't do much, but I'm not really here. I don't have much time while I'm here, and I need to do a lot of stuff, so that's kind of why I'm cutting it short. Chances are you'll see me on the main channel tomorrow and then here as well. Again, I'm just trying to like test a few things, and for the sake of this stream, I got a new light, different camera position. This microphone's going to be tweaked and sound a lot better. The PC's going to get replaced. Everything's going to get tweaked, because around July plus-ish, we're going to be coming back here. So I want everything to kind of be set up properly to where I can just log in and like do what I want to do, and it works out. So yeah, with that being said, I am out of here, folks. Take care of yourselves. Be well. Stay safe. I don't know. Oh, there we go. And I will catch you tomorrow. So peace, guys. Good night.